The following is a straight-through read of Sunspots and Cell Towers Fueled the Northern California Firestorms by James Grundvig, an article which I uploaded to my long-standing YouTube page, which I had been developing for 10 months and had about 550 viewers. I uploaded this article 2 weeks ago. 1 week later, I went to pull the article up again, looking for it because I had gotten the papers out of order. And this is what I see, that James Grundvig had his account canceled or suspended. So I uploaded it to my YouTube page. A week later, he had been taken down. A week after that, I got taken down. So I suggest and ask that you take screenshots as I do this read through. Don't wait to come back till later. It's only a few paragraphs, and the essence of it describes everything you need to know about what we're going through today. Forest fire-scarred mountain slopes in the Colorado Rockies where pine trees were stripped bare by the fires. That's a photo, credit to James Grundvig. Two seismic overlapping events, one celestial, the other man-made, created the unique conditions igniting the Northern California fires that swept through wine country on October 8th and 9th. The chain reaction set off more than a dozen clusters in the same time, scattered across multiple counties on one hellish night. At first, authorities suspected arson, journalists absurdly blamed ISIS, then Mexican drug cartels for coordinating attacks. Napa and Sonoma counties are not the regions to grow cannabis. Pot farms are located far north along the coast. The wildfires weren't wild at all. The houses cooked from the inside out. They often burned from the top of the roofs, incinerating the walls, floors, appliances, and cladding down to the foundation. Yet 90% of the trees on the properties remained standing, with leaves on the branches not burned, merely dried out. It was as if a neutron bomb had detonated, burning everything man-made, but leaving the greenery alone. Drone footage, photos, and eyewitness accounts confirmed that this was the case. Pine trees, trapped by the fires, stood unscathed while the houses burned. Scarred shells of cars seen in photo after photo had their tires vaporized to the rims, their windshields melted away, and the metal bodies warped by the intense heat. None of it was normal or had been seen before. What caused the inferno? How did it escalate so fast? And why did the fires burn so hot? Wrong theories die fast. With the houses bursting into flames on their own, the claims that the Diablo wind caused the raging fires is patently false. The winds on the still, cloudless night came after the fires erupted, while dry lightning, an event that needs a cloud-to-ground funnel, didn't happen that evening. Others have theorized that a military-directed energy weapon, or DEW, aka laser, was used to ignite the structures on the ground in a microwave effect. Contrary to the fantasy of James Bond's GoldenEye, however, the limitation of laser-mounted weapons has a maximum range of 60 miles, but mostly far less than 5 miles. They won't be combat operational until the next couple of years. One longtime veteran fire captain, John Lord, in the Lake County region north of Napa, went on record in a video interview saying that DEW, directed energy weapons, started the fires, and that plastics in modern homes' construction material were the cause. Fire Captain Lord is close on both the ignition and the flammable material, but not quite there. Solar flares and hurricanes. The 1859 coronal mass ejection, the largest in history, lasted 5 days. The direct hit, known as the Carrington flare, penetrated the Earth's magnetic field, sending electric shocks through the telegraph lines and through sparks at the poles. This century, scientists have worried what a CME event would wipe out communication satellites, but it looks like like the Carrington flare, they failed to look closer to Earth. What would the damage be if sunspots breached the magnetic field? In 2017, after an active summer of solar flares, government needs to focus on terrestrial hotspots and exposure and worry less about GPS and satellite relays. This past March, a pair of Russian scientists published a white paper, Evolution of Extratropical Cyclones during Disturbed Geomagnetic Conditions. It concluded that during geomagnetic disturbances, favorable conditions for increasing intensity and cyclone lifetime are formed. That the distributions of the temperature of air masses of extratropical cyclones were shown to change due to the changes in the geomagnetic activity. In October, they posted a video on YouTube analyzing this year's high number of powerful hurricanes, from Harvey and Jose to Maria and Ophelia. The last storm turned back toward Ireland, becoming the strongest east hurricane ever recorded. Contrary to climate change fueling the ferocity of hurricanes this season or in the past, it appears solar flares are the mechanism for both steering the hurricanes and their robustness. In matching the formation and the landing of Ophelia with a 6-day geomagnetic storm of a coronal whole high-speed solar wind stream, the scientists had the smoking gun. With each one of the major hurricanes this season, they matched the storm dates with solar flare activity. They backtested their theory on Hurricane Sandy in 2012 and Katrina in 2005 and one in 1974, each lining up with solar disturbances. At the 13-minute, 30-second mark of their video, they discuss the sunspots melting power lines and causing an electrical explosion in Washington in 2015, while igniting a transformer fire in India in 2012. The solar flares that penetrated the Earth's magnetic field were not wreaking havoc on the array of satellites orbiting the Earth, but were fueling hurricanes at sea and zapping the power grid on land. Days before the firestorm, a professional who lives and works in Sonoma and who wants to remain anonymous wrote in an email, 2 weeks before the fire, people were thirsty. They bought large amounts of water, emptying the store shelves, yet the air wasn't hotter than historical averages for this region. But it did have one weird effect on people's hair being statically charged with electricity. When the firestorms burst that Sunday evening, witnesses claimed to have seen an orange glow behind and above the trees. They didn't attribute the halos to the fire, but to an unknown anomaly in the air that felt charged. The Santa Rosa Fire Department and the other investigators have suspected power lines played a role in causing the fires, while others blamed smart meters. Yes to both, but they played a diminished one, acting more like a conduit to igniting some of the structures. The electrical grid, however, wasn't the mechanism that lit the fires or charged the air with static electricity in the days before the catastrophe. From the previous images, number 1, the trees remained standing and a shell of a car is microwaved. A Hilton in the Santa Rosa burned from the top down and inside out, the greenery left alone. House fire burned on the roof down, trees untouched. And number 4, the house incinerated to the foundation slab, trees in the background left unscathed. Cell towers generate microwaves. In crowd-solving the firestorm, a few journalists, including a few journalists, scientists, and this author, believed that the 4G network of cell towers created an electromagnetic field that allowed the solar flares to cook the houses directly without running through the power lines or smart meters. In total, 77 cell towers were burned up or were damaged. They were not the source that lit the fires, but the feeders. Cell towers burned, the houses baked, the trees remained standing. The current cell tower system in use is called WiMAX, Worldwide Interoperability for Microwave Access. The 4G system sends out signals through panels or antennas in narrow beams from tower to tower, not aimed at the ground. But the network does emit non-ionizing radiation, which the industry qualifies as typically safe. It causes some heating effect, but usually not enough to cause any type of long-term damage to tissue. Radio frequency, energy, visible light, and microwave radiation are considered non-ionizing. All well and good, but tell that to the dozens of people who died and the more than 7,500 homes and businesses that were destroyed by the fires. If you put tinfoil in a microwave oven, it will spark with flames shooting about, giving off an orange halo glow. It's not the metal that catches fire, but the aluminum oxide coating. When superheated by microwave energy, the coating releases oxygen on the surface, engorging the material to burn even hotter. This phenomenon is known as field-activated combustion synthesis. Like a Duraflame log, the self-sustaining oxygen fuels the flames, as had been seen with the ceramic roof tiles and the metals used in building materials that do not burn in normal forest fire. With the invisible microwave field formed by the many clusters of cell towers in and around Napa and Sonoma, and the sunspots igniting the charged air, it created the orange halos while igniting hundreds of homes at once like Roman candles. On October 7th, spaceweather.com observed that a minor stream of solar wind brushed the Earth's magnetic field and that the geomagnetic storm would hit on October 11th. Other evidence arose when a second source of light, a band that stretched from Washington state down to Arizona, crossed the United States in less than 30 minutes, captured by the GOES 16 satellite on October 9th. The speaker notes the anomaly while eliminating the sun and moon as suspects, since the August 21st solar eclipse took more than 2 hours to transit across the country. For the professional who described the strange days before the event, she returned on October 24th to hear an update. She noticed her watch acting peculiar and captured the compass and the second arm going haywire, aroused by the electromagnetic disturbances still in the area. The new vulnerability of the digital age boils down to a mix of oxide-coated materials, clusters of cell towers, and the right climate and atmospheric condition for sunspots to reach the Earth to ignite microwave-energized air, meaning the buildings and houses in Silicon Valley are just as exposed as any place in California and any place in the world with similar developments. As society enters a new digital era, this new phenomenon puts entire towns and neighborhoods in the crosshairs of spontaneous destruction. The problem won't be resolved easily. It won't be solved without a fight. People and businesses must stop the FCC accelerated plan for California to install 50,000 new cell towers of the more powerful 5G network, a true microwave grid creating radio frequency radiation umbrella. The same applies to North Carolina and other states planning to do the same. When the new 5G system goes online, how much more devastating will the next solar-lit firestorm be? Before 5G network is deployed, we need to find out why the existing cell towers created a microwave field in the days before the fires. Did someone turn up the juice on the cell towers? Did they aim the antennas at the ground, or was it something else? Answers to those questions fall into the hands of PG&E, the telecom industry, and California government. Human lives and our digital way of life might depend on those answers. How we deal with the unimaginable answers will be the most critical of all. About the author, James Grundvig, he has more than 25 years of construction engineering experience on projects of scale, research, and writing forensics and technical reports, is well versed in behavior of construction materials, fire and water damage properties. James is an investigative journalist and author of 3 books: Corruption at the CDC in Master Manipulator, a techno-thriller novel, Dolphin Drone, and a suspect masterpiece painting hanging in the Metropolitan Art Museum in New York with Breaking Van Gogh.